Hello, once again, my fellow VTuber enjoyers, and welcome to my channel. I'll be your bartender for today, and we're going to be talking about where the hell I've been and celebrating my 1-year anniversary of opening this channel. As you may have noticed, we're in a brand new location. This is my newly renovated kitchen. So where I've been is my house has needed some renovations suddenly and very extensively, so I have been unable to make videos for almost 3 months. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But now we have a brand new, nice looking counter, and I can use my kitchen as a new setting for my videos. I think the counter looks quite nice, better than that little coffee table that I was squatting over, and I have like a proper, setup now, I guess, that I can more comfortably work around. Just have to excuse some of the kitchen clutter. Unfortunately, there won't be as much space for me to put my VTuber merch on display. I really enjoyed making that a part of my videos, but I'm sure I can work something out. But yeah, wow. 1 whole year since starting this channel. Like I've said many times before, this channel is a bit of a passion project of mine, just a little hobby that really went much further than I could have ever expected. I've said this so many times, I really thought that I would be opening the channel to like single-digit subscribers and like maybe a view or two every now and then on the videos, but apparently there's quite a lot of you guys who kind of, found that these videos are worth your watch. So I thank you so much. Really could not have gone anywhere without you guys' support. So yeah, if you guys enjoy watching or seeing cocktails based on your favorite VTubers, please, I would really appreciate your subscription. Just watching the videos would mean the world to me, honestly. Yeah, but yeah, I just have in front of me a little drink that I made. Since we're not really making a new cocktail, I figured I'd just have just a cocktail for me to sip on and enjoy. This is the E.R.B. Elizabeth's cocktail, the elderflower rose bramble that I have in front of me. It's a little bit different. I think I went a bit too heavy on the raspberry liqueur, but that's okay. Well, the raspberry liqueur and some of the syrup, it sort of fell on the bottom now, but yeah, so I'll be enjoying this throughout this whole video, and I have a little bit of a soda as a chaser in case I need some more beverage. I also have a little prompter right here to just keep me on track. Right now, this intro is also dragging on a little bit, so let's get a move on, I guess. This video is going to be very, very minimal editing, just one take. Will probably last an hour or so. So yeah, if you just wanted to drop by and say hi, thank you so much. If you're interested in, my thoughts on, what's gonna happen now to this channel, what are my plans in the future, what cocktails am I gonna make in, next, and VTubers I might want to consider covering and such, maybe you can just, leave it playing in the background if you're curious. And towards the end, later half of the video, we're going to be doing a sort of special anniversary awards show, that's just based on my own opinions on the cocktails that I've made. So, cheers. Yeah, really good cocktail. Anyways, yes, let's see where we are. Okay, so year in review. Like I said, this has really just been a passion project for me. Over the course of 1 year, I've made 45 videos, and if it weren't for the sudden renovations that happened, that took up 3 months, I probably would have made even more. So I would probably reach 1 video every week of the year, which is pretty impressive. I never thought I'd be able to manage that frequency. I also made 20 shorts. The original plan was to have each cocktail have a long form video where I can talk more about what I enjoyed about the VTuber that I was covering, explain my thought process behind each cocktail, and then I'd have a short that's, you know, cocktail recipes make for a good, I guess, short content, so I figured might as well make both. Tell you the truth, I kind of enjoy the long form videos more because it allows me to talk about the VTubers, which, you know, I think should be the main focus of each video, but yeah, nowadays the shorts usually do much better. So, but yeah, I've only made 20 shorts, so yeah, my backlog is massive. I've not been keeping up with that very much, unfortunately. As you may know, so this, like I said before, this is a passion project, but I also have several other hobbies, expensive ones, might I imagine. So you might know that from my Zani video from Wuthering Waves that I am a cosplayer. It's one of my longest hobbies I've been following, I guess. And yeah, I had taken a bit of a break from cosplaying for 1 year because I was feeling a little bit burnt out, and I directed all that energy and free time towards this channel, basically. So that gave me the, you know, the time and the focus to crank out all these videos. So, but in the future, I will probably be going back into cosplaying. You know, now that I took a 1 year hiatus, it wasn't really a hiatus, I was still sort of cosplaying, but just not making anything too major. I'm starting to get a bit more inspiration about things that I want to cosplay, and I probably will be spending a lot more time doing that, so I definitely probably cannot maintain the 1 video a week. So the new schedule that I'm going to aim for, excuse me, the new schedule that I'm probably going to go for is 2 cocktails a month, something like that, and maybe maybe the shorts on the off weeks. And I'm just going to spend more time behind each cocktail to test it, experiment, and make sure that each cocktail really lives up to, you know, the VTubers' expectations. So hopefully that will give me a bit more breathing room to, you know, handle my other hobbies and such, and also make great cocktails for the VTubers. And there's still a lot of VTubers that I want to cover. Now, talking about expensive hobbies, I have like 4 hobbies that are quite expensive. So I've got cosplaying. Cosplaying can be a very expensive hobby. I got cocktails, you know, all those bottles of alcohol and liqueurs and such. They're not cheap, especially if you're just starting out as a home bar. It's definitely not cheap. I also game. Yeah, so I play gacha games and I play a lot of video games. There's a lot of amazing games coming out in the gacha sphere. You have, you know, the big, you know, Hoyo, Wuthering Waves. I really like Wuthering Waves. I think it's a really fantastic game. We have Silver Palace coming out and such. Duet Night Abyss looks pretty cool. It's like an anime warframe. I might check that out. Yeah. But there's also Silk Song. Silk Song just got announced. Oh my god. Yeah, you're probably gonna lose me for a month once that comes out. So yeah. Speaking of cosplay, I'm also preparing for a con this weekend. So I'm gonna be pretty busy. And then after that, there's Silk Song. Can't wait to play it, and can't wait to watch all the VTubers try it out. Now that, you know, it's come out, the hype is humongous, and it's really bringing out so many people trying out either Hollow Knight for the first time, or they're just preparing for Silk Song. But yeah, and VTubers. VTubers is, of course, my 4th hobby. It can be not an expensive hobby if you're just fan and enjoying it. But as you can see, I have quite a lot of merch, so that really racks up. And of course, I guess another hobby of mine, I like traveling to Japan relatively frequently. My group and I are planning a trip in October, actually, so I'll be quite busy then too. So yeah, a lot of different ways for me to destroy my wallet. I would not recommend this many expensive hobbies. Sorry for my refrigerator. Sometimes it makes those weird noises, but hopefully it's not detracting from the video too much. Yeah, but anyways, so I'll be quite busy through September and October, but after that, things should start to settle down a bit, and I'll have more free time, and then I can probably start making videos on the regular. Until then, I'll probably try to catch up on my shorts backlog and try and release some of those, because I think a lot of them are pretty cool and deserve, a second wind, I guess, now that I've been gone so long. I should release a short. Okay, now, what about the current climate and situation of VTuber as well? Let me take a drink before this. As you may have heard, there's been some very spicy VTuber news recently with the whole situation with VShojo. Yeah, it's quite a shame and disappointing how that happened with VShojo. I was actually planning to cover the VShojo girls in the near future, because they're really big and they deserve cocktails of their own. Like, I've already done KSON, because I had a really good idea for a cocktail, and that was great. She saw my post on Twitter and retweeted it. That was so nice of her. She's such a sweetheart. She didn't really deserve. None of them really deserved any of what happened to them. But there's nothing stopping me from covering them. Of course, they're not all now indie, but covering VTubers as a part of a group has its advantages and such. So it's a shame that VShojo collapsed as a whole, but I'm looking forward to their indie career with great interest. I'm sure they're going to do great, and many of them have bounced back despite having so much thrown their way. So cheers to them. But yeah, I've also covered quite a lot of the hololive talents. My original goal for the channel is to cover every hololive talent possible that I could, and I've done quite a lot, and that goal hasn't really changed. I still plan on covering quite a lot of as many of them, both JP, EN, Holo Stars as well. I want to do them. They deserve representation, and Holo ID, of course. But speaking of hololive, as we know, there's been quite a lot of graduations that have happened recently. It's quite sad that the hololive that I started, that got me into VTubers like 4 or 5 years ago, has changed quite a bit. I wish them all the best on their new adventures. A lot of them, maybe they had some things they really wanted to do and they couldn't stick with hololive for as long as we all would have hoped. But hololive still stands, and it still has a lot of deserving talents. They deserve our attention and our love. They're out there working their hardest to make us all happy. So definitely plan on covering all the hololive talents. It's sad that graduations happen, but it makes me sort of glad, I guess. I don't know a better word, that I started this channel like now, I guess. So I had something that I could do to, as a tribute to send them off. When you're in the rabbit hole as long as I've been, I guess, you see all these wonderful fans that have made, songs, fan arts, fan animations, even fan games. Man, HoloCure really shook the VTuber industry for sure. And you see all these people making such great content and creations for their favorite VTuber. You sort of get that calling out to you that you want to contribute as well. And it just so happened that this niche hobby of mine sort of aligned, and I was able to make something in their name. Makes me kind of wonder, what if I started like a year earlier? Then I feel like the year before, let's see, started in like 2024, so 2023 was quite a strong year for HoloLive. So I feel like if I started then, maybe things would be a little bit different. I'd be more established, and I'd be able to send these VTubers off with a bit more pizzazz than what I have currently. But like they say, the best time is to start yesterday, and even the next best time is to start today. So if you guys are ever feeling that you want to, like me, you want to create something for your favorite VTuber, for your Oshi, please go ahead and do it. Even if, it doesn't get the visibility that you think it deserves, just leave it out there. And, some people who really care about it will find it, and they might, make their day a bit better. Anyways, I'm rambling. I'm off script a little bit, so let's see. But yeah, VTubers that I plan on covering in the future. Well, I did sort of promise to cover the Holo Gen 1 talents, because their anniversary had just happened. I reached 500 subscribers, which is a huge milestone, right around my birthday in June actually, but then that's when the renovations hit, so I wasn't able to really capitalize on that and make those cocktails. So I was in the process of making a Fubuki cocktail, but then the renovations hit and I couldn't complete filming the video. I might have to redo it entirely in the future. So I think my first order of business is complete the Gen 1 Gen 1 cocktails. I have some interesting ideas for a lot of them, so I would like to share them with you. Hold on, let me see if I can shut this refrigerator up a bit. Okay, maybe I should have done that earlier. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't start making those sounds anymore. But yeah, so first order of business, I think I'll finish the Generation 1 cocktails that I promised. I have some pretty interesting ideas for some of them, and I would love to share with you. And next, there are some VTubers, some of the HoloLive talents that I've covered most of the generations, but I've left out those ones. So for example, Kiara and of course Sana, who has already graduated, but I wanted to make a tribute for Sana. Sun is eternal after all. Their birthday or anniversary, I like to make the cocktail on a significant event of theirs, just to make it a special occasion and such. Though their anniversaries or birthdays that I was planning to make the cocktail on occurred during the renovations, so I was unable to get the video out in time, unfortunately. But yeah, so those are like talents that I've completed pretty much every other member of their generation, but due to the renovations I couldn't get to them. So I think after that I want to make their cocktails. I do have some great ideas for those two in particular, and I'll have to double check about any other talents that I might have left out. I think they are the only ones really. I think I've covered either I've covered only like single talents of a generation or a group, or I cover like one or two, and so then the rest of the generation I'll just cover in their own time. But yeah, as for HoloLive, those are my first orders of business, and this next year I also plan on covering a lot more indie VTubers. There are a lot of new and wonderful indie VTubers, and of course established indie VTubers that really deserve our attention, and I would really love to make cocktails for them. And maybe I'll also explore VTubers from other companies. There are so many great talents out there, and I think they all deserve to have a drink in their name. So yeah, those are my plans for future cocktails or content that I'm making. Yeah, let's see what we have next on the menu. Yes. Now we're gonna have, that's enough rambling. If you have any other questions that you wanted me to answer, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll try and get to them if I have, an answer that I think is suitable. But now we're gonna get into the special anniversary year in review awards show run by me with, winners picked by me, of course. Sorry, I didn't really have the time to make this an audience fueled event, even though I probably don't have the audience to really make that happen. But if you have your own strong feelings about certain cocktails that I've made that you think deserve a mention, why don't you leave them in the comments down below? I'd love to hear your thoughts about some of your favorite cocktails that I've made, or if you have ideas of cocktails of your own, please leave them down below. Now, before we start, I'm just gonna go give the camera a check to see if it's still filming, and if everything's okay, then we'll proceed with the awards show. Let me get some of the soda as well. Real good. Okay. Now, let's get into our impromptu anniversary award ceremony. So, I've made 45 videos throughout this year and 20 shorts. But we're just gonna go with the videos for the most part because each of them are unique cocktails. And out of all these videos, I really like all of them. Of course, I made them, of course, but there are some that I feel that deserve worthy mention. So in this award show, there are a few categories that I've made up, and in those categories, I have like a few runners up or honorable mentions that I'll list, and I'll give my reasonings why they deserve to be in this category and why maybe they didn't make the cut. And then I'll give the winner, and then I'll explain my reasoning for the winner as well. And if you follow along and you have your opinions on, maybe a cocktail that you think deserves to be in this category or the winner of this category, please leave your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear what you think. But yeah, so in the first category, we have a cocktail of mine that most embodies the VTuber. What are the conditions? Well, the cocktail itself, when you look at it, you can immediately see or understand, yes, this is indeed a cocktail for so-and-so VTuber. You look at it and then maybe I can explain more about my thought process behind the cocktail, and you can really, really see, how it characterizes that VTuber and why, that cocktail belongs to that VTuber. So to start us off, we're gonna go through our honorable mentions. the first one I want to mention is Mel. So why is Mel's cocktail, which is the Osterworld Sunrise, if I remember correctly, why do I think that really embodies her cocktail? Well, it was one of the first cocktails that I really thought up of the hololive talents. It was during her graduation. I was feeling a bit sad that she had to go like that and couldn't say goodbye. So I just thought up a drink in her honor, her memory, that would really capture her. So what I really liked about the cocktail is the color scheme is just really, really good and really, really vibrant. I think what'll happen is I'll try and like edit and post like maybe a picture of the cocktail that I made, put it in like the side or something, just so you can get a refresher of what it looks like. But yeah, the color scheme I think matched her very perfectly. We got the strong yellow from the orange juice, the vivid red, the blood red from the Astral Grenadine, and it incorporated her favorite drink in lore, which is Astral juice, which is very red, and it's her substitute for blood. And the ornament of the sun with the orange slice and the cherry looked really good. And then even my sloppy bat ornament turned out pretty decent. So I think all those elements really came together and it made it Mel's drink, and tasted very nice too. And it's quite a simple drink to make, so a lot of people can recreate it if they are so inclined. So I think that all in the package makes it a cocktail that really embodies that VTuber. So yeah, I really enjoyed making that cocktail. Next, we have Gigi's cocktail, which is the Double Fister. So all of Justice's cocktails I made, usually I like to make the cocktails for pretty established VTubers, who've been in the game for quite a while, just so they establish their audience, establish their memes and inside jokes that I can take inspiration from. But since Justice came out, they all had very strong personalities to them, so I was able to make a cocktail for each of them. But Gigi's in particular, at first I didn't really think that this was a proper cocktail, because technically it's 2 shots, and they're not really like a proper cocktail, like this one. But as the days and the weeks passed on, the drink sort of grew on me, and I sort of started thinking that what, this actually sort of matches Gigi's energy quite a lot, because the 2 shots, excuse me, the 2 shots incorporate ingredients that were used in all 3 of her gen mates. So we used the fused tea gin from Cece's, and I used the raspberry liqueur from Elizabeth's, and I used the coffee liqueur from Raora's. And then it really, used all of them, and then some other ingredients to incorporate her 2 shots. And then Gigi is, quite very unique VTuber. She's quite different from all the others. So it sort of fits that her cocktail is, a little bit different from all the others. They're shots instead of, proper cocktails. So she's sort of a little chaotic gremlin of her own. So yeah. And of course, we lit it on fire, because why the hell not? I really love fire. As you'll see in future cocktails. So yeah, I think in the end it sort of grew to really encapsulate what Gigi stands for. She's sort of the great unifier between her gen mates. She gets along with everybody. She's such a sweet, adorable gremlin, even though she's pretty chaotic, but she's also her own thing. She's very, she's pretty considerate. I really love Gigi. So yeah, I think her cocktail, a Double Fister, ended up incorporating her, her thoughts and values quite well. So that's why she's in the most representative of that VTuber. Next runner-up is Gura's cocktail. Yes, the legendary shark of Atlantis. I really loved making her cocktail. It has incorporated so many inside jokes of hers. Me as like an old HoloLive fan, I really loved her beach episode animation from Doodle, so I wanted to make a cocktail that sort of incorporated that inside joke of hers. And of course, the jar memes that she had. I, of course, had to use the mason jar, and I really loved the gradient or the different color layers of the yellow pineapple juice sand and the bright blue cocktail you see floating on top. Of course, the gummy shark, adds that shark aspect to it. The umbrella, makes it very beachy, and it's a very tropical drink too. And of course, with the jar, you can shake it up, really mix the cocktail together, and you get the complete experience just like that. So yeah, I think all those factors really combine together to make it a drink that is very Gura-esque to me, at least. So I really love that cocktail. So yeah, I feel like it's kind of an underrated cocktail. It didn't really do as well as I thought it would, but I think it's a really good cocktail. It's relatively easy too, I think. It's just kind of like a pina colada type of thing that a lot of people would enjoy. So if you ever have the means to make the cocktail, I implore you to try it out yourself. I think it's a pretty good visual experience and drinking experience as well. Tasted pretty good as well. With all those honorable mentions mentioned, we'll go into the winner. And the winner is, of course, my personal favorite cocktail that embodies the VTuber the most, Elizabeth's cocktail, E.R.B, the elderflower raspberry bramble. So it's the cocktail that I made for myself because personally, the bramble is one of my most favorite cocktails. Because it's just so versatile. You can swap out a lot of ingredients to really make it your own, to really make it into the cocktail that you really want. So, take a sip. Throughout this video, you might notice me getting a bit more red. That's my allergic reaction to alcohol happening, so just so you know. But yeah, I'm okay. I'm just feeling quite warm. But anyways, why do I think Elizabeth's cocktail is most representative of her? Well, I think everything just came together so perfectly. So we have the Exardian gin that's from her homeland. The style of gin used is attributed to her homeland, Great Exardia. We have the coloring, the vivid red coloring from the liqueur, the raspberry liqueur, the syrup that you pour over. It really leads to a fantastic appearance, of like a pool of the blood red at the bottom, and then the more lighter red that permeates the cocktail itself. And of course, the anagram of her name, E.R.B, that we all love to call her. I was able to incorporate that into the naming of the cocktail, E.R.B, and it really describes itself as what it is. The elderflower raspberry bramble. That's a very apt, description of the cocktail. That's literally what it is. And my most favorite thing is, of course, the blue flame of our hearts. It's such a great coincidence that alcohol burns blue, and there's a way of the lime husk that is, quite a traditional garnish of cocktails. Actually, the lime husk. Sorry, I'm scratching so much. The alcohol makes me very itchy. It's my reaction, but yeah. So I was able to invert that lime husk, pour in the alcohol along with the cherry, which is the bloody red heart of hers, and then light it all on fire to give a very, very nice flame showing up. So all those aspects together make it one of, I think, the perfect cocktail that truly encompasses everything in that VTuber's model. You know, I don't think I really could make a better cocktail representative of Liz herself, unless I maybe think really hard and, you know, come up with some more inventive ways of incorporating more aspects of hers. Maybe I, you know, find her actual favorite cocktail or something, and then I try and make something like that. But I would still incorporate the fire. I'd still incorporate, try and incorporate her name, E.R.B. I'd still incorporate all these aspects. So I really don't think I could make a better cocktail for that particular VTuber, which is why she, in my opinion, wins the most, the cocktail that most embodies that VTuber. Okay, so I've rambled quite long for these, for this category. Let's move on. So, next category is the best twist or use of a classic recipe. So, one of the most common ways of making a brand new cocktail is to take a classic recipe and swap out some ingredients to make an entirely new cocktail with a different flavor profile and such. So that's, I've made several VTuber cocktails that way, and I think there are some that really use that twist well and made an entirely new cocktail that is, you know, quite enjoyable, and it really worked well, in my opinion at least. So here we go. Okay. First up, we have Vesper, old granddad, old grandpire. What I really liked about that cocktail is it's a combination of two classic cocktails. One is the Vesper Martini, which is a James Bond cocktail that is, you know, has quite a reputation of being a very strong and prominent, you know, very boozy cocktail. You know, James Bond, something worthy of him to drink. You know, a lot of people who made it and drunk it have said that it's not really a great cocktail because it's sort of not well balanced, because it's very booze forward actually. But you know, some people have grown to like and love it. The other cocktail used in this fusion was the Earl Grey Martini, which is made by a bartender. I forget her name, but this cocktail was made to really try and make gin more popular, and it sort of accomplished that mission because the use of the tea leaves infused in the gin really went well together. I've said before that I think tea and alcohol, or gin in particular, go really well together. The flavors really complement each other, so it's quite a delicious drink. And by fusing them together, I think we get a very cocktail that really works. You know, it's pretty good. It captures Vesper's essence quite well. You know, it's a very sophisticated drink from James Bond, I'd say, and it incorporates his love of tea, and it works really well. It tastes pretty great, and I think I managed to you know, use these classic recipes to make something pretty unique for this VTuber in particular, and it worked really well. So next honorable mention we have is KSON's cocktail. So like I mentioned, KSON's cocktail, the Socho, is a riff on the classic cocktail El Presidente. So this is a pretty widely enjoyed cocktail. It has, you know, rum, it has grenadine. It's pretty, a lot of people say it's, you know, a very well-made, well-balanced classic cocktail. And what I made essentially is a Japanese version of El Presidente. And then, of course, the best Japanese translation that I could get was the Socho, and it happened to be, you know, KSON's nickname or title, Socho. So everything really worked together, and of course the coloring ended up being, you know, this lovely shade of pink that really matched her her coloring. And of course, like I mentioned, KSON saw it, she loved it, she reposted it. That was so nice of her, and that was one of my you know, favorite moments in the account's history where a VTuber, reacted to that cocktail. And, it's nice to have that confirmation that you did a good job and, they really liked it. So it has a special place in my heart, at least. So yeah, that was a really quite a good use of the classic. Next is the Ame's Ame's cocktail. So this is a riff. Oh man, my refrigerator's making noises again. Okay, it stopped. Okay, so yeah, as we know, Ame sort of graduated quite suddenly. I didn't really have something quite prepared, but I managed to come up with this riff on the classic of the Bee's Knees, which is a very loved classic cocktail, and I made it into the Ame Bee's Knees. And I think the use of salted honey instead of fresh honey, which you normally use in a Bee's Knees cocktail, really added a new dimension to the flavor. The salted honey, salty and sweet, can really work well together. You have salted caramel, salted toffee, and stuff like that. So the salted honey, I think, really added a new dimension to it. I think I might have gone a bit too heavy-handed with the salt. I'm not really a good cook, so I don't know the salt ratios too well. I'd probably go a bit lighter than what I said in the video, but overall, the taste was quite good. The salty honey, the salty sweet of the honey, and then the refreshing coconut flavor from the coconut rum that Ame loves so much, really worked together. The ginger beer worked with the honey to, really make it a sort of very healing cocktail. And I think the purin hat, originally I didn't plan on using such a big, purin pudding to put on top of the cocktail, but I think it sort of worked. It really, captured her detective hat thing, and it was sort of a, eye-catching garnish that, starts conversations if you were to show that to people as, hey, look at this cocktail that I had. It has a freaking giant ass pudding on top, as a garnish. So I think as a twist on the classic and as like a sort of last minute thing that I came up with, it worked pretty well. And now, after all those honorable mentions, the winner of the Best Twist in the Classic is, in my opinion, Dokibird's cocktail. Now, why do I think this is the winner? I've given strong praise on all the others. Well, what happened is this is a twist on the classic cocktail called the Jungle Bird, which is a sort of tiki cocktail. Uses pineapple juice, uses rum, and then I twisted that into the Dokibird by using Suze instead of Campari to make the color more red, and then I made the blue rum float on top, which really captured the colors. Her yellow hair and then her blue cap. And it turns out that this is actually this variation of using Suze in a Jungle Bird has already been made as another classic cocktail called the Kingston Sound System. So I think that sort of cements itself as the best twist in the classic because it is a twist that someone else has already made, using Suze to make it more yellow and highlight the bitter flavor of the Suze. So it already exists. I sort of rediscovered, I wouldn't say rediscovered it, but remade it in a way. It's not quite the same, the float of the blue on top is its own thing, but in essence, it's basically the same drink. But yeah. Okay, so starting to ramble a lot. When I don't have a script, this tends to happen, so I'll try and hurry up with the other categories. Okay, next category is the most delicious drink. So this is, quite a straightforward category based on my opinion, which cocktail tasted the best. And first honorable mention is Risu's cocktail, the Nutty Squirrel. that cocktail was actually very delicious. The peanut butter whiskey, I hadn't had peanut butter whiskey before, but after trying it, I can see why, you know, people enjoy drinking that. And then turning it into a milkshake-like cocktail, you know, really sweetened the deal. You know, it really masked the alcohol taste. It really brought out the peanut butter taste, and then adding actual peanut butter in itself really gave it a great consistency of a milkshake. It was quite thick, and then the non-alcoholic version was even, in my opinion, even better because, you know, you didn't have that bitter alcohol taste, and you just had straight up milkshake. It tasted really amazing. I recommend you just try making it yourself. It's basically just a peanut butter milkshake, and it tasted quite good. Next up, we have Fauna's cocktail. This is sort of a personal bias of mine because the grasshopper is also one of my most favorite cocktails as a sort of creamy dessert drink of my own. Yeah, and chocominto is a very good flavor, and it's quite popular nowadays due to that meme song. So yeah, it tastes good. My only gripe with it is, since I made it vegan for Fauna, the ingredients themselves don't have quite the same body, the same texture as like a, you know, non-vegan substitute. The cream liqueur was quite thin, so I made the drink quite watery-ish, which is not quite a good word for it. It's more thin, like it's not watery, it's, you know, it's booze, straight up booze basically, but it didn't have like the creamy texture of, you know, Bailey's or something, if you were to use that. So yeah, but tasted great. And the Oreos, I love Oreos as well, so tasted good. Next up we have the Good Morning Motherfucker, GMMF, or Coco's drink. So this is a twist on a Long Island iced tea. This is a pretty classic drink that has quite a lot of different variations. This one is just a variation because it's orange and it uses peach puree or peach syrup. And of course it has some shochu in it to make it a sort of a Japanese twist on it, and it tasted good. This is sort of infamously known as a drink that gets you drunk fast, but if you make it sort of properly with, like, you know, more reasonable proportions, it's actually quite a decent cocktail on its own, and it's very approachable. The taste of the alcohol is quite masked based on the soda that you add, and I added quite a decent amount of peach syrup, so it tastes like a very good peach soda with just a hint of alcohol. Okay, so those honorable mentions said, the winner, the best tasting cocktail in my opinion, is Ayame's drink. What did I even call it? The Nakiri, or did I call it the Nakiri? Something like that. I think I called it the Nakiri, but it's basically a strawberry, it's a margarita, a Japanese variation of margarita with a strawberry foam. And you can see when I first tasted it that I was quite shocked based on how good it tasted. You know, I sort of, you know, tested it beforehand, but that was the first time that I had all the components put together as a full cocktail, and everything came together just so harmoniously, and it tasted amazing. You have the salt rim of classic margarita, gives it the salty flavor. The margarita itself is, you know, very sour and bitter from the lime juice and the alcohol, so it mixes those flavors. And the strawberry foam was like the clear winner. It's like super sweet, so it adds a lot of that sweet component to it, and the texture is just like you're drinking a meringue, basically. The flavor is just so powerful. I think it's because I use like very strong strawberry syrup as the base of that foam, and it really added a strong, fragrant strawberry finish to it, and everything mixed together so harmoniously. And since all the different parts have their own flavor, you can sort of modify the taste that you want. So you can take a bit less of the salt rim, you can take a stronger sip of the cocktail itself, and you can, you know, change how much of the foam that you put in your mouth, and then you mix that up to get a different experience of the cocktail yourself. You're basically playing the role of the mixologist, and you can, you know, take the drink as you enjoy it. So yeah, that was like a really great tasting cocktail. It might not be easily reproduced at home because, you know, the strawberry syrup might be a bit hard for you to get, and then making the foam itself requires a certain you know, set of tools that most people might not have. But if you have the chance to make it, or you have the chance to experience something similar, try it out. I think it tastes very good. Okay, next category, most visually stunning. So this is, of course, a very obvious category. You know, why one of these cocktails would be in this category. Of course, it's based on my opinion. First honorable mention is, once again, E.R.B's drink, Elizabeth's drink, the elderflower raspberry bramble. And what's visually stunning about it is, of course, the blue fire. That really, it's my bias. I love fire. If it's on a drink, I'll be like super impressed. And of course, the little show after, where you take some cinnamon and you sprinkle it over the flame, and it, you know, changes the flame from blue to yellowish red. That's just so amazing. I really liked making that in the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed experiencing that as well. Next, most visually stunning one is Ollie's cocktail, the Kureiji Zombie. I really liked how that cocktail looked because it was such a vibrant red from using the guava juice and different red ingredients. You know, it really matches her red outfit, or red motif in the outfit, and the bouquet of mint, you know, made it look, you know, very stunning. It's almost like her hair ornament or something. And of course, we have that macaron. I worked pretty hard on that macaron. I'm pretty proud of it, with the sword, you know, skewered through it, and of course the two cherries that made her hair buns. You know, I think it really looked like her face. And if you look very closely, I sort of, you know, took my finger and rubbed some water on it to make, you know, a portion of it darker, and it really matched her, you know, her two-tone skin color of, you know, a darker, you know, top half and a little whiter bottom half. So, or maybe I got that mixed up, but yeah, it was, you know, I really liked how that looked. Yeah. And then the next runner is Chloe's drink. So this is sort of a most ambitious garnish-wise. So we have a, you know, a bunch of her lifesavers, life preservers hanging around the rim of the glass, and of course the orca head sticking up out of the drink, out of the sea foam, and then, you know, the drink itself is blue, very foamy, like seawater. So I think visually it looked great. The only thing holding it back is my own artistic skill. The orca head didn't look quite as good as I had hoped. It was sort of lumpy in places, and in hindsight, I should have made the bottom of the chocolate banana a bit more white in coloring to, you know, really get that orca motif, you know, more obvious. But I think, you know, visually, if it was made by a more talented artist than me, I think it would look very good. It's a shame that, you know, once again, it happened under, you know, more sad circumstances. And now, the winner of the most visually stunning cocktail is, of course, Bay's cocktail Play Dice. Man, I worked pretty hard on that cocktail. It's just, I really wanted to capture that dice motif. You know, you had to get the square glass. That's, you know, that's a pretty hard thing to get. And then the dye markings that you had to get on the glass using chocolate. I had to make that myself, but it really, turned out well. And of course, the white cocktail, really made it look like a straight up dice. I was really, really proud of that cocktail. I think that's the type of cocktail that you could serve on its own without saying that it's like a VTuber cocktail. You can just serve this at a fancy restaurant or something and be like, this cocktail concept is of a dice. If you serve that at like a fancy casino bar, serve that as like your headlining cocktail, I think that would sell off the shelves. But it takes quite a bit of work to prepare it. So yeah, but man, it looked quite good. Yeah, it looked really, really good. I'm really proud of it. And now, next category, we have most technically difficult. Yes, most technically difficult cocktail. So this is this category is based on how long and how hard I had to struggle with the experimental phase to get the cocktail to work the way that I wanted it to. And speaking of Bae's cocktail, that's up there as one of the most difficult cocktails that I had to make. For all the same reasons that it turned out looking so well, it was a pain in the ass to, make up. So, like I said, you need a very specific set of glassware that is square. And based on what I was searching up, I could only find that single instance of the glass, the Visky glasses that were square glasses. And those are not cheap. Visky is like a very premium glassware company. So those things, they looked really nice, but yeah, oh my God, acquiring them is pricey and difficult. Then you had the markings themselves. I had to be very careful with the markings to make sure that my makeshift stamper didn't touch the markings and mess up the appearance of the glass. And I had to do it by hand for every face of the glass, and the bottom is a bit harder to make. And then in order to make the dice look more authentic, you had to study the glasses and make sure that the pip markings are accurate. So each opposing side of the dice, the two numbers there, they should add up to 7. So if you look in my video, each of those sides, they match the correct marking of a dice. But in doing that, you have to be very careful that there's enough space on each side of that glass to accommodate those chocolate markings. The bottom part was the hardest because the inside is actually a bit smaller than the outside face, so it can only fit a certain amount of pips. So I ended up making that the 4 pip side, and then the top half ended up being 3. And I used cherries to make those pips. And then balancing the cocktail was also a feat on its own because it's 2 cocktails sort of mixed together. So the white liquidy cocktail part is a milk-based cocktail, and then there's also the frozen coffee ice that I put in there. And yeah, you have to balance the cocktail so that once the ice starts to melt and mix together with the cocktail, the taste doesn't end up being too disharmonious or anything. So it ended up that milk and coffee go well together, so it wasn't like super like you're trying to mix 2 polar opposites together. It wouldn't work. It'll be fine, but still, like, the balancing it is fine. And of course, making alcohol freeze is quite difficult, so you have to make a mixture that has a little low enough alcohol percentage that it will freeze solid, but high enough so that it actually stays a cocktail and not just frozen coffee, basically. But yeah, that was a pain of a cocktail to make, let me tell you. Next up is Yofi's cocktail, the artist's palette. So this is technically actually one of my first failures of a cocktail, because my original plan was to have this as a jelly cake style, a jello shot. So if you search up agar cakes or jelly cakes on YouTube or the internet, you'll see these pictures of really stunning cakes of, like, let's say clear jelly, and then they capture, like, based on using colored jelly, like images of flowers, of animals, of stuff like that. That was my ideal vision of Yofi's cocktail. I wanted to make like a flower trapped inside a jelly of clear vodka, basically. Yeah, so that was the vision behind that. But I tried a lot of different recipes to sort of get that to work, but I just couldn't get the flour to really show up neatly. It looked kind of like a mess. So it ended up being just, very solid, agar jelly shots, basically, which is, technically a bit more traditional, at least in my culture. That's sort of how, agar desserts are served. They're just sort of, monotone jelly colorings and flavorings, and then you just cut them up in small pieces, and you take a toothpick or a fork and you just eat them like that. But man, I really hope to make one day be able to make those jelly cakes. I think they look stunning. Anyways, next category, or next honorable mention, is Noel's cocktail. So I mentioned in the video itself that this Noel's cocktail, the Shirogane, is a combination of several very advanced cocktail techniques. So you have the milk washing that clarifies the cocktail. You have the clear ice, which requires a certain method of freezing the water and carving it into clear ice cubes. And then you have cocktail foam, which is it requires a specific set of tools, and it's using egg whites to make a very flavorful foam that you top your cocktail with. And the combination of all those made it a very complicated cocktail to set up. That's the sort of cocktail you'd find at a very high-end establishment that is, very serious about their mixology. You'll find those sorts of cocktail there served as, their signature cocktail or something. But it looked quite nice. You had a very visually clear cocktail, and then you top it off with that sort of grayish foam. Towards the end of the filming, the foam was sort of starting to fall over because it wasn't stable to last like over 20 minutes to 30 minutes of filming. But overall, it was still a fantastic cocktail. It tasted good, but I feel like the average person watching that cocktail wouldn't be able to recreate it unless they had some experience or knew what they were doing. Okay, with all those honorable mentions, the winner of the most technically difficult cocktail that I made is Suisei's cocktail. So this was, quite a feat on its own. During that time, I was really interested in black light and making certain drinks fluoresce and glow in the dark, basically. And my vision for Suisei's cocktail was to have, a crystal clear blue cocktail on the bottom that showed off her her blue motif. That's just her coloring. And then I wanted the top to be something unassuming, but under black light it would turn red. And after doing a lot of research, I found that chlorophyll, which is extracted from green plants, will turn red under the black light. And I was like, sick, that's like what I was looking for, exactly what I was looking for. The solution has already been discovered. But extracting chlorophyll is quite a task on its own. You need really high proof alcohol, 90 plus or something for the best extraction. And in the place that I live, California, it's hard to get, if not impossible. You can't get, 95 proof of Everclear sold here anymore, unfortunately. So I had to basically order lab grade ethanol, which is basically kind of 100% clear, but it's not like made for drinking purposes, really, even though it is food safe. So the alcohol itself sort of ended up having this weird chemically aftertaste, which is strange because it's pure ethanol. It's supposed to be 100% ethanol, and that shouldn't have a weird aftertaste to it. I think it might be from the container that it was shipped in, like this lab bottle that might have a smell to it or something. I don't know. But yeah, and then extracting the chlorophyll from the mint. Mint is not particularly high in chlorophyll. There are other leaves, other vegetables that are higher in chlorophyll that you probably get a better extraction from, but mint is the best leaf used in cocktails. It would go well with the cocktail itself. So yeah, I had to extract the chlorophyll from the mint, and it ended up fine after I got the high proof alcohol. But getting it to stay on top of the drink itself was quite difficult because liquids want to mix together. So if you float a bit of that mint extract on top, it'll stay for like a moment, and then it'll start to sink down and mix with the drink itself. So you don't get that blacklight effect if the chlorophyll all starts mixing into the drink. It'll just get too diluted. So what I had to do is basically I filmed myself making the video and then topping it on, and then right before I did the black light shot, I had to retop and add more chlorophyll, more mint extract to the top, and then quickly film it before with the black light to turn it red before that it dissipated into the drink itself. So it was quite a hassle. It took a lot of tries and attempts to get it right, but in the end, I think it turned out quite well, in my opinion. Okay, so that's the winner of most technically difficult cocktail. Sorry, let me get back to my script. Next is the cocktail that I think is most deserving of a remake. So there are some cocktails that I made earlier in my in my channel, and now that I've spent a year of doing this, thinking and experimenting and stuff, I feel like some cocktails are not up to my newer standards. So I think that if I have the chance, I would like to revisit them and take a second crack, and maybe I'll end up with a better cocktail. So first up, I've mentioned this one before, is Gigi's cocktail, the Double Fister. So like I said in the beginning, at first I thought to myself that technically Gigi doesn't have, I didn't make Gigi an actual cocktail. It's just 2 shots. They're not a full cocktail, even though so it could take, it might have been nice to go back and make her a new cocktail. But now that I have been thinking it over the years, over the months, it's sort of grown on me to think that, what, actually, I think the 2 shots, the double fisting, really fits her character. So in the end, I don't think I'll need to go back and remake it. But if I have a lot of free time in the future and I do think of a better cocktail idea, maybe I will actually make her a new cocktail, but that just depends. Next up, another one that I mentioned before is Yofi's cocktail. Like I said, this is technically a failure of mine. I wasn't able to capture the vision that I had. I just didn't have the skill at the time. So in the future, if I do end up with better skills, I find a better recipe maybe for the jelly in use that will actually capture the technique that I wanted, maybe I will revisit it, and then I'll make the cocktail that I the jello shot that I really wanted to make for Yofi. Since she is such a great artist, I wanted her drink to be, you know, very visually beautiful, very artistic. So if I have the opportunity and I have the skills, then in the future I'll revisit it. Okay. Next honorable mention. Oh, it's actually cut off. But let's see if I can remember it. Next honorable mention, most deserving of a remake is I remember. It's Lamy's cocktail, the Snowflower Sake. But this one is sort of a technical. I'm here on a technicality because it's basically a martini, a Japanese style martini with sake and soju instead of gin and vermouth. But at the time, the sake that I used was quite a subtle flavor. You know, it had a slight floral flavor to it, but it didn't have something very strong in it. Before, I didn't have a lot of experience with sake, and I thought that's sort of what sake was meant to be. It's sort of like, you know, a subtle, smooth sake, a smooth alcohol that doesn't have a particularly strong flavor. It just, you know, tastes a bit floral, a bit sweet, a bit like rice, I guess. Sort of like a vodka style, neutral grain spirit style of alcohol. After that, I went to Japan again, and then I got the chance to taste several more high quality, high quality sake at a restaurant, fancy restaurant. And then I tasted some sake that were like super good. They were packed with flavor. It was almost like drinking like a liqueur kind of, I guess. It had that much flavor to it. It wasn't like, you know, sweet or anything, but like it tasted like strongly of different flavors. Like you can tell it's not like a neutral spirit at all. So that got me thinking that Lamy sake is probably more in line with, you know, that style of sake, I guess, if or to have won awards or something. So I think if I were to ever get my hands on Lamy sake and I was able to mix with it, I would want to revisit that video and remake her cocktail using her sake and of course Noel's gin. So I think that would make for a very entirely different cocktail, because, you know, sakes and gins, they're sort of proprietary. Each one is, you know, markedly different from the other, so it might end up with an entirely different cocktail. But yeah, that might be a very difficult cocktail to reproduce for like you guys on the viewer side, but I think it would be a very different cocktail that would more fit Lamy's, you know, character. Okay, with all those honorable mentions, the winner of the cocktail that I think is most deserving of a remake is Pekora's cocktail, the Pekora or the Peko Highball. So why is this one deserving of a remake? Well, back then I was, at the time, I was sort of convinced myself that, okay, I had these ingredients that are Peko branded. You know, I had the Pekola, and then I had the Peko Shochu, and I really wanted to use that in her cocktail because I thought, you know, that would be the best way to incorporate, you know, Pekora's essence into a cocktail. And then I wanted to get carrot flavoring in there somehow, so I tried to infuse Shochu. But in doing so, I sort of ended up breaking a sort of unspoken rule, or several unspoken rules that I have when making these cocktails. And those rules is, first of all, I kind of want the cocktail to be easily reproducible, and I wanted to use, you know, easily gotten ingredients, because, you know, the idea of making these cocktail recipes for you guys is I want you guys to be able to make them. If you're interested, you can go out, buy the necessary liqueurs or liquors and mix it up yourself, and you can try it out and you can tell me, is this cocktail good or not? You know, that's the idea behind this channel. And also, I want the talent to be able to do that as well. So I want them to be able to easily attain these materials and, you know, try it out themselves if they ever felt the desire to. But in using these Pekora branded liqueurs and shochus, not shochu, umeshus, it's pretty damn hard to be able to make that cocktail for yourself. Umeshus and the Pekora are, like I said, quite proprietary. They're quite different depending on which umeshu that you get. And of course, the Pekora syrup itself is very markedly different. I don't think you can really reproduce that taste yourself. So you'd have to, you know, fly to Japan, buy that Pekora if it's not sold out or anything, and then you can make the drink. So yeah, that broke the rule of making the ingredients, you know, very easily attainable. And the second rule that it broke is I want my cocktails to visually convey the image of that VTuber. Like if I were to hand you this cocktail and say, oh, this is Pekora's cocktail, or this is Coco's cocktail, or this is you know, Fauna's cocktail. You look at that drink that I handed to you and you'll be like, okay, I get it. I understand why this is so-and-so's cocktail. You know, I think visually for themed cocktails, it's very important that the style and the appearance matches the thing you're trying to represent. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Like if I gave you like this red cocktail or something and say, oh yeah, this is Suisei's, no, okay, let's not go with Suisei. This is Pekora's cocktail. What makes it Pekora's cocktail? Like visually, you see it, it's red, and be like, okay, red doesn't really match with Pekora's color scheme or anything, and the garnishes don't really make sense or anything. So why is this Pekora's cocktail other than, you know, you telling me it's Pekora's cocktail? Then maybe I'd have to, you know, explain in further detail, you know, my reasoning behind it. But I think, you know, in cocktail and like food in general, a lot of people say, or the saying goes that you eat with your eyes first. So if visually it doesn't match, then you're gonna have that thought implanted in your mind, and it'll affect your experience of the drink. Like, okay, I don't really get why this is the VTuber cocktail. This is just some random cocktail, and then you slap the name on top. You know? So that's why in the future, if I have the means, I want to revisit Pekora's, Pekora, and make a brand new cocktail that, you know, more follows the rules that I have on my channel. I think it's quite an important thing to be doing when you're doing themed things. You know, like if I draw like a random bunny girl that doesn't look like Pekora and say, okay, this is a Pekora fan art, you'd look at me and say, okay, what the hell are you doing? It doesn't look anything like Pekora, right? So I think that's the sort of ideology that I've sort of adopted throughout this year. But yeah, in the future, if I have time, I want to revisit Pekora and make her a more proper Peko cocktail, especially since she's, I guess I'd say, my JP Oshi. I don't really have Oshis. I watched a lot. I try and watch all of them, but Pekora is definitely the first hololive VTuber that I watch, and I want to do right by her. Okay, so, oh man, I've yapped for far longer than I expected. I thought we'd only go for an hour, but I think I passed that at this point. So we've reached the final category that I have for this award show, and that is my most favorite video or short that I've made throughout my channel. So of course I like all my videos. If I am allowed to toot my own horn here, of course, I wouldn't publish it if I didn't really like it. But among those videos, you know, there's bound to be a video that I enjoy the most. But since there's so many videos, I don't have a lot of honorable mentions. I like each of them, like I said, for various reasons. So I'm just gonna come out and say the winners, but I'm gonna do both a video and a short because I think they're two different mediums. So my most favorite video that I made is gonna be Suisei's video. because I had a lot of fun, despite it being very technically difficult in the experimental phase. Making the video itself was very fun because, of course, with Suisei's psychopathic tendencies, I of course had to make the meme at the end that freaking Suisei doll ended me at the end. I mean, I got better, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you, sitting here in front of you. But yeah, like having the dolls end me and making that video was super fun. The black lights really made it quite a sight, I'd say. Turning from a happy blue, green, and bright video to having the blood red chlorophyll glow in the black light. I didn't expect it to come across so strongly in the video, but you look at the particular image and it looks like blood, basically. It looks like a vial of blood. And I found out that the Suisei's Friends with You doll, her white stars, they also fluoresce in the black light. So the ending of that video looked really, really interesting, to say the least. And I had a lot of fun making that video, and I hope you had a lot of fun watching it, if you did manage to watch it. Now, my most favorite short that I ever made is gonna be a short that I made for Ame. And it's not the Ame Bee's Knees one, but the tribute that I made before that, the Running Out of Time short. And it has a special place in my heart because I really wasn't expecting Ame's graduation. It really hit me out of nowhere, and it sort of triggered, I guess, the paranoia that all HoloLive fans felt during that time, because it sort of started that string of graduations that was really hitting a lot of people, I guess. So yeah, it really caught people by surprise. And then the concept that I had of, an infinite time loop of me making that same cocktail again and again in the stopwatch, I think visually it looked really good. So essentially I had to do it in one take, basically. I had to try it several times because I kept messing up or whatnot, but I had to, in the end I got it done in a single take, even though the ending, the position that I ended up with was not quite the same as the position I started in, so the transition was not as smooth as I wanted, but I managed to make the whole cocktail in under a minute. And if you look at the video and you watch the stopwatch, you can see the second hand basically turning, and it turns almost a minute exactly. I mean, I probably went over by a little bit, but yeah, it turns over pretty much by a minute, and then I pick it up and I look at it and then I start over again. So I think if I were able to make that video perfectly, it would be like pretty much the best short that I could ever make. But yeah, that, and also the music, one of Ame's BGMs that I found was just so melancholic, and then I overlaid the clock ticking over it, and it was just, it was quite an experience. And it's definitely one of my most favorite shorts that I made, but it's sort of bittersweet that I had to make it under such sad circumstances. But yeah, that ends my award show, and I had almost finished my drink over the course of an hour. Yeah, I kind of like to yap a lot if you get me talking about VTubers, I guess. So like I mentioned, that I don't have a lot of friends that are into VTubers as much as I am, so this is sort of my outlet to get my thoughts and feelings out about VTubers to people who might be more interested in what I have to say. So yeah, if you ended up watching the video all the way to the end, thank you so much for putting up with some random old dude yapping about anime girls on YouTube. But yeah, I appreciate having you here. I appreciate that you enjoy my content, or at least enjoyed enough to give my videos a click here and there based on your favorite VTuber or whatnot. But yeah, thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for putting up with me for the past year. I hope to continue making new cocktails for VTubers in the future. Now that I'm, getting, of course, I'm busy with work as well, and I have, all these other hobbies that I, wanted to keep doing. I hope I can still find some time to, maybe make a quick video of a cocktail that I made for a VTuber. In the coming year and in the future, I hope to put more efforts into both the channel and the content that I make. So I've had the banner of no banner for so long because, I didn't really have means or like the connections to get like a proper banner made, but I'll look into making my channel a bit more presentable now that it's been a year. I feel like it's time for an upgrade, a visual upgrade to my channel. I'm not very good at social media, even as a cosplayer. Like I have pages for that, but I don't really post that often because I'm lazy, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna try and get better at editing, at taking pictures, at displaying my channel, at advertising, just because I think this channel has grown past just a mere hobby, and it's sort of a passion. And I think that's pretty neat to have something that you enjoy doing and you can share to the people who enjoy watching you. So yeah, I want to try and do this properly for the people who are watching. So thank you once again for supporting me. I would not have gotten so far without you guys. So yeah, I hope I didn't take too much of your guys' time, but happy anniversary to me. Here's to another year maybe. I wonder how long I'll be yapping in the second year. But cheers, I'm gonna finish my drink and I'll be finished in my video. So yeah, if you have comments or questions or anything, please leave it in the comment section down below. And I hope to see you in the next video. Cheers.